Hello everybody, my name is Ilya.
And I'm Tyler. Together we make up Kavre, a couple that loves board games.
Welcome to another episode of Check It Out, where we showcase various board games to you.
This week we've got Miyabi.
Miyabi!
Check it out, check it out, check it out, out.
Miyabi is a 2 to 4 player tile placement game, designed by Michael Kiesling and illustrated by Renee Amthor, published by HABA. You're going to try to build the most elegant garden and compete with all your opponents for that elegance. Can you do it?
Guess you'll find out.
Let's give you a quick overview of how to play.
You'll begin by setting up. Each player will get one player board along with 6 lanterns and 2 scoring cubes. The scoring track will go in the center and you'll place all tiles face down somewhere in reach. Depending on how many players you have, you'll take a look at this tile and lay out face up the number of tiles that it's indicated. Once you're done setting up, you'll begin by selecting a starting player. The starting player will then select one of the tiles that are face up in the center. They'll place that tile in the same row corresponding to the items that are on the tile. Once they finish placing that tile, they'll grab the lantern corresponding to the column and they'll put it into this empty square. Once that's completed, you'll score. Scoring works like this. You'll take the number of items that are on your tile and multiply it by how many layers are there. So in the beginning, it'll be pretty straightforward as you'll only have points equal to the number of items on the tile. But as the game progresses, if you place a tile with 3 items on it onto the 3rd layer, then that means you'll get 9 points.
Now once you've placed the lantern in that column, you can no longer place items in that column. Tiles can still enter that column if they have nothing on them, but the item symbol can no longer be in that column as you cannot score that column anymore. And that remains true for the rest of the round. It will reset at the end of the round, but before then you have to be careful with where you place your tile.
If there are instances where you can't place a tile, then you have to pass the turn on to the next player.
Now if you're the first person to complete the 5th layer, you'll get bonus points for that specific item, and those will be denoted on the side of the table. You'll continue to play for a certain amount of rounds depending on your player count, so 6 rounds for 2 players for example. So how final scoring works is you're going to look on the left side of your player board and you'll see little numbers between each of the items. Now you'll get the top number if you have the most out of every player of that item.
At the end of the final round, and once you've done those bonus scores, the player with the most points is the winner.
Ooh. So what do you think?
I like this game. It's fairly simple, fairly easy to get out of the box, really easy to teach, and tile placing, strategy, that spatial awareness is kind of my jam when it comes to lighter games.
Yeah, it's super fun. I really enjoy it's very unique in the way that the tiles are stacked, because not only do you have to think kind of in the 2D way of how to place tiles, you also have to think how can in the future can I layer and create the most points and not cover up various pieces. So I find that element really interesting.
Yeah, and on top of that too, you really have to think about where you're placing it because you have limited space to do that, and especially when you're placing those lanterns.
That's very true.
You really have to think ahead.
And look at this box art. It's so pretty.
So why should they check it out?
Well, it's a really great introductory tile placement game. The rules are really simple to teach and to learn, and it's a game that I can see us introducing to pretty much anybody to get them into board games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a super great introductory game. It's made for honestly all ages. I think there's elements that really appeal to any kind of person. So if you're really into that spatial awareness, you really like those lighter tile placement games, Miyabi is definitely the game for you.
And there's definitely some mechanics that carry on to the heavier games as well, so you can definitely use this to tease people into board games and be like, well, now we're playing on Mars.
The other thing I would mention is that there is an expansion piece to it, so the game can get a little bit more complex by adding those elements in, which is really nice to have.
Absolutely. So why shouldn't you check it out?
Well, I think kind of what we alluded to is if you're not really into those lighter tile placement games and that's just not your vibe, then I don't think it's a game for you. If you want more of a heavier strategy type game, this isn't really what you're looking for.
That's fair. I think also if you're not a spatial thinker, there's a lot of different variety of not only do you have to place in that 2D way, but the 3D way as well. You'll struggle if that's not your forte, and maybe it's your way to learn, but if it's not your forte and you don't want to learn, maybe stay away from this.
Yeah.
And outside of that too, there's a bit of a luck component once the tiles are flipped. There's been some games where I really want to fish, but then no fish come up at all out of all the tiles. And that can be a little bit frustrating sometimes, so if that's not your jam too, maybe this isn't the game for you.
Yeah, I agree. It's low player interaction too, so if you want to be able to interact with each other, then I don't know if I would pick this one up.
I don't know, you can steal some tiles and
that's true.
Be a little bit
yeah, okay. Lower. Okay, so overall, what do you think?
I really enjoy this game. I think this is a game I can see us introducing to various folks, our parents, our friends, people who've played games lots and people who haven't played games.
I think the biggest thing for me about this game is it's honestly a perfect introductory game. You have elements of mechanics that become more and more difficult when you get into other types of games, and then you also have you get to test like your multiplication skills still. Like, what's 5 times 3? I don't know. No, it's 15, but but you know, you still got to be able to. It keeps you on your toes in a simple yet like grabbing your attention kind of way.
I think the other thing I didn't mention is I really like the way the scoring works in this game, as scoring happens after each player's turn. So you really get to see that scoring track race down the track, but then you also have to consider the final scoring in the 5th layer. So even if you're behind, you can come back, and yeah, it can be a pretty fun game.
Yeah, it really ramps up.
Well, for our question of the day, we're going to ask you what your favorite flower is to have in your garden.
Flower.
What do you think?
Mine would have to be tulips. They just come in a lot of different colors, and I just like the shape.
I think mine would be petunias.
Classic.
Just because it's really fun to say. Like, I want some petunias. Well, let us know in the comments down below what your favorite flower is.
Thanks so much. Oh, I just bit my tongue. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you're really interested, tap on that bell notification to get notified when we release new videos.
And share it too. We'd love to show more people Miyabi and us.
Exactly. Well, again, thank you so much for watching. This is us checking out. Bye.